Hello there. Today we're going to have a wild edible video to encourage more people to go out and eat more wild edibles. You wouldn't believe how much food you probably already own on your property. On top of that, you wouldn't believe how many vitamins and minerals you're lacking that these are full of. It's a really good idea to have them in your diet, and they also could get you through a crisis or any kind of problem in life where you don't have enough money or food. These are actually wild pansies right now that we're looking at right now that I planted. They're not wild, and they are edible. We eat the flowers off of them. I also wanted to tell you that poisonous plants and fungus sometimes resemble edible ones and often grow next to each other. Some organisms have deadly parts, and it is the viewer's responsibility to identify and use the plants and fungus correctly. I would advise to not bring your children out for this activity. Always pick wild edibles in places that are not contaminated by anything, any animals or any kind of pesticides or any kind of chemicals. Always look for little bugs and stuff like that. You might have to dust them off. These things are amazing. Super sweet. Here's one kind of plantain. This is a wild edible and super medicinal plant. Very good for reducing poison in the blood. If you put it on a bee sting, it can pull the poison out. You can take it internally, put it on topically. It helps regrow skin cells, and you can use it as an enema. They taste amazing as well. Here's the broadleaf plantain. It's got the same properties, tastes the same, everything the same, just looks totally different. Here's more of the plantain. There's the other kind growing right next to it. It's got a few leaves. It's growing next to wild clover, the white clover. That's actually edible as well. You can eat as much as you want of these plantain plants and these wild clover. The white flowers are really good for tea. The leaves are edible as well. Red clover is really good too. It's more medicinal and it's very sweet as well if you can find the big red clovers. Here we have a couple of blackberry plants coming up. There's a lot of blackberries, black raspberries. There's blueberries, wild blueberries, elderberries, and there's even mulberries in the trees that come out of the mulberry trees that I'll show you later on. Right here we've got Jerusalem artichokes. They're native plants, and I actually replanted them there on that hill so they would take care of the weeds that grow on the hill, so I wouldn't have to weed eat so much, and they produce like a potato substitute with the roots. You can use them just like you do potatoes, pretty much. Here I'm going to try and show you some chickweed. It's amazing. It's actually growing with these cleavers. I'm going to show you these cleavers later on, but this chickweed here, it's growing all in here, these vines. It is an amazing edible. You might like that a lot. I'll show you some more in a second. Here's another good shot of the chickweed. It's small and tender right there. It's always tender, but it's small right there, and then the bigger plants, like we were just, similar to what we were just looking at right there. Super good wild edible. I'm not going to touch much on the violets, but there's some there. They're really good wild edible. Look more into it to distinguish what is what. But they grow like wildfire. I mean, you could really harvest a lot of that if needed. Here we have an elm tree branch. These leaves are edible. Not bad. Here's the bark and what it looks like. Here what we have, I'm sure everybody knows, this is a dandelion. These leaves here can be eaten. The roots, the flower, all this whole plant can be eaten. It's really medicinal. People have actually turned to dandelion root as an alternative to some serious medicinal uses when they're like on their deathbed for certain things that it actually has gotten rid of when other remedies. And here's one everybody knows, honeysuckles. They're actually packed with antioxidants, and people usually eat them wrong. If you ask me, they just take that one drop of nectar out, and to get all the antioxidants and all the minerals, you got to eat the whole flower. It tastes amazing, and it's actually a vine, not this bush. There's the vine that it's actually growing from, and it's growing up the bush. But man, they are amazing. Here we have cleavers. They make an amazing medicinal tea. It tastes so great. They're growing all through there. They feel like Velcro or something. You'll see these little balls that'll stick to your clothes sometimes when you've walked through a patch of cleavers. But they're actually a very good medicinal plant, and we use it for tea mainly, is all. And people used to use them to stuff in their pillows back in the day. It would ward off fleas. Here's some more right here growing in the light. You might can see better. But they just stick to you like Velcro, kind of. Here is some poke salad. I'm sure you've heard of that before. This is about waist high poke salad. You normally take the tops of them and boil them about 3 times before consuming. A lot of people will take the top of the stem and kind of cook it like okra. It is a poisonous plant, so you don't eat it when it's real big. Now here's some big poke salad. It is over my chest high, so I wouldn't eat it, because the bigger it gets, the more poisonous it gets. It's really not that poisonous when it's small at all, though. Safe to eat. You just got to boil it or steam it a few times. Here we have a whole mess of edibles. We've got dandelions, and we've got white clover and plantain, the broadleafed plantain, all mixed together. Here I spotted a young thistle plant. If you know how to identify a thistle plant, they're all edible. They taste kind of like a fresh pea or celery. Once you peel down the thistle leaves, you can eat the stalk, and it's a very tasty treat. They usually grow to be a big plant, sometimes over your head high, with a big purple flower on them. Here we found some wood sorrel. Tastes amazing. Some more. Sometimes it'll have purple under the leaves of the wood sorrel. There's different kinds. That one was called a yellow wood sorrel. Kind of looks like clover leaf, but it's a heart-shaped leaf. And here's some more of that chickweed we were seeing earlier. This is prime size to harvest. Good stuff. Here we have mulberries on this mulberry tree. There's a few kinds of mulberry trees, but they all kind of look like this, and they are absolutely all over the state of Tennessee. The berries, you eat them once they turn like a dark purple. Here's some that are falling off the tree already. And here's the bark, what the tree looks like. We actually have like 5 here on the property. They're very plentiful around here. In many places in Tennessee, I have found out. If you can get some bees at your property, they're a really good source of a lot of vitamins and things that you need. with the bee pollen and the honeycomb and the honey and everything. They also need our help, so it's a really good idea to have bees. But I thought I'd finish off the video here. I wanted to also talk about, there's some trees that have some that are easy to distinguish. You just need to do a little research on them, that have some really good nuts in the fall. And some of them are hickory, walnut, pecan, chestnut, hazelnut, and then some fruit trees. We got wild pear, they grow like wildfire around here, persimmon fruit, and pawpaw fruit. Persimmon trees and pawpaw trees, they grow, they're very plentiful, very easy to distinguish with little research, and I would definitely look them up. We talked about violets. I'm going to put a picture of henbit up at the end. It grows really plentiful in the springtime. I really want you to learn or see what it looks like. I talked about chickweed, clovers, dandelion leaves, plantain, wood sorrel, and poke salad. But I didn't talk about a few things that I would definitely look into that I might mention. And if anybody else has any other easy to distinguish wild edibles, please put it in the comments below, and so other people can learn about some of the stuff that I didn't mention. But this is my list of the ones that are most plentiful. And here's just a few to add that I would really suggest looking into. Amaranth, also called pig's weed. Cattails, I'm sure you know what they are. You can eat the bottoms of them, like the roots. They're kind of like a potato substitute. You used to eat them or cook them like potatoes. The fiddleheads on ferns, they grow all through the woods, especially on hills. Greenbriers, you know, that you get cut on in the woods. The shoots on them are actually extremely tasty. You can saute them up and eat them. Garlic mustard greens, watercress that grows around water, curly dock, and lamb's quarters are one of my favorites. Look into them. Lamb's quarters, they're very tasty. So is watercress. They actually sell watercress at the grocery store, if you're not familiar with that already. But all that grows really plentiful around, at least around Tennessee. And let's see, two more: milkweed and Queen Anne's lace. Queen Anne's lace is like wild carrots, pretty much. And also look into buds of trees that are edible, and they grow throughout the winter, so that's a very good source of food throughout the winter time. And a few mushrooms that I would look into are chanterelles, morels, chicken of the woods and hen of the woods, and oyster mushrooms. Those are all some that are very plentiful and easy to identify. A lot of mushrooms are not, but those are. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video, and if you know somebody that would be interested in watching this video, please share.